Hello, welcome to the Peter Repeater 14, episode 14. This is my second one today. I thought I would just talk in my spare time before I have to do something at 7. So I'm just really spending my whole day now just sat in my room talking. But I just watched the BBC News daily briefing from Downing Street with Michael Gove instead of Prime Minister Boris Johnson because Boris has got the coronavirus with mild symptoms. Hopefully he'll be okay. But I watched a bit of Michael Gove and it's just more of the same. Just every day. I hate to say it, it's just let's protect the NHS, more people are dying. And it's just a continuing situation. And it's been like this for 2 weeks now. And I'll just open the live chat here. And it's just more of the same. Just hearing myself say it's more of the same. I don't mean it like that. I just, yeah. Anyway, so I've got the live chat open and I've got my cup of tea and we've got the BBC News here. So we'll just quickly cover the news and then hopefully we will cover other aspects of this continuing news story, the coronavirus. If you haven't heard of it, it's about people getting ill and it's a virus and it's spreading and some people are dying and it's causing the country to be in lockdown right now to try and mitigate the current situation, and hopefully we can as a country pull together and help everyone out and make the world a better, safe place once again. So let's just go on the news, see if there's anything interesting. Okay, so the US House passes $2 trillion bailout bill. So one of its provisions is to send $1,200 checks to most adult Americans. So that's a lot of people. A small glimmer of hope in Italy coronavirus statistics. A little earlier, we brought out you the news that had recorded its biggest rise in its daily death toll so far, with more than 900 fatalities in the past 24 hours. There's a small glimmer of hope among the shocking statistics, however. The number of new infections was lower than the figure recorded on Thursday. This is just statistics going up and down, to be honest. All these numbers can get a little bit much, and you hear all these people dying, and it sort of disassociates yourself with the suffering that's actually happened. And like, my life would just be one statistic. It would just be, I'd just be one figure. And to me, my life is so much more than that. I'm worth something, and it's everything I know. So I'm not so comfortable with the simplifying of individual cases. It's inevitable, but just the simplification into numbers. And we're talking about stats and graphs and stuff. And that's what we're talking about, when really the news should be focusing on the individual and focusing on individual stories and trying to see the emotion in it, because I think it's a bit much just to bombard us with all these statistics, and people love a little stat. They love to know that the virus is getting worse. Bad news is popular news. It's all crazy. So here in the Peter Repeater studio, my bedroom, we have not seen any steep rise in cases. Namely, nobody's got a cough or fever at the moment. We're just looking at the news here, so like 33,000 new hospital beds. Just another stat, completely meaningless. I know what one bed is like, but I don't really know what 33,000 beds are like. So they want to test frontline workers, so the NHS. So they want to focus on the people that are vulnerable and susceptible to catching the disease. UK infections doubling every 3 to 4 days. I swear I saw a graph where the gradient is 3 to 4 days, but the actual whole graph is within the 2 to 3 days. So misleading news. There we are. London Gatwick Airport to close North Terminal. That is something. Less planes. A mountain in Switzerland had the word hope projected onto it, which looks pretty cool. So I was here earlier. This is just a little update. More people are dying and it's getting worse, and we're staying indoors is the idea, to try and stop the spread of this ever-present virus, and we're trying to make the world a better place and stuff. And I know that I have already podcasted today, but I was just hoping that I'd have another go at it to fill up some time. And even if I do it for like 5-10 minutes, at least I tried. At least I tested the water and tried to get something said about everything. So currently this podcast is called News and Politics. So I suppose I shouldn't really be talking about the philosophy of life and whether there's a God and my dreams and stuff. But I will. Just some dreams that still bother me. Like starting to get more dreams now. And I had a dream, I've said this before, just worried about English literature and having to study for it. And having to get a better grade. And worried about specific people in my classes back then, when I should be 22, out in the world, free from it all. But people can have an impact on you, and you can still dream about them years after seeing them. This is crazy. Hopefully I find some new people to have in my dreams, and I can get some new material. Because at the moment I'm just staying inside and not really meeting anyone. In an ideal world, I'd have people around my house and doing podcasts and have a nice podcast set up. That would be pretty cool. But in the time being, I just have to make do with just me talking. And sometimes I go for a good 10 minutes talking for 10 minutes and nothing more. And this is me talking for 10 minutes. And then I just talked about talking for 10 minutes. And by the time I finish all that, I've talked about talking for 10 minutes now. It's 11 minutes. Anyway, that's a little random thing there. So basically this virus is an interesting one. People are dying, but not people I know. It will get quickly real very quick when somebody you know gets the virus or somebody you know dies, and that's already the case for many people. And when you look at Italy, some people are really upset and in grief over loved ones dying, and that might be me. Hopefully not dying, and hopefully not loved one dying, but it's all possible. And yesterday we saw the clapping of the NHS. I heard some clapping in my household. I was mid-podcast, so I didn't do any clapping, but there you go. So it's just me and the camera talking about life. So do I think that the country is going to carry on as normal. No, I think it's going to get worse. I think we found a new normal. Maybe it's just me in my life, but I think we found a new normal with staying indoors and lockdown and the stats getting worse each day. It's not a shock, like there's no like big headlines apart from the Prime Minister getting it, of course. But it just seems like the new normal is this coronavirus bubble that we're living in, and the news about it. And Russell Brand said something quite interesting, is that we think that we have democracy, but when it push comes to shove, when it comes to it, the government just tells us what to do. We have government guidelines and we have to do it. The police can enforce us and make us do stuff, and we're not allowed to go outside and stuff. I just think that's a bit brutal. Yeah. And we think we live in a democracy when really we're just at the whim of what the government tells us. We don't have the control over the government, they have control over us. So it's a little bit weird at times like these. Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen to the world. Things are definitely going to be different. Things are going to get worse and things are going to get different. And in times like these, the political landscape can shift very much, because if Conservatives are seen to be doing a bad job or something, easily Labour could come in power. You need something, but hopefully it's something bigger that will change than just Labour coming into power. Just hopefully some restructural thinking about how we live our lives and our whole system. Hopefully we can get some autonomy, but that's not going to happen. But we'll see. I'll drink my tea. So what a world we live in. At the moment it hasn't impacted my life too much, because I was staying inside a lot anyway, and now I've got a even better reason to stay inside. Yeah, so that's okay. I stay inside, now I'm saving lives. Stay home, protect the NHS, save lives. So hopefully that can happen. I think the real numbers of people dying are really going to change. Like in Italy, 900 or so in one day, that's a lot of people. And for us, it's starting to get up there, 181. And then people say, look at the stats and think, oh, it's gone down this day. But stats fluctuate naturally anyway, and it's about the general incline and increase in the general pattern. So yeah, just the stats are getting a little bit meaningless now. Sort of understood when 2 people died. I thought, oh, those 2 families. And then like 500 or so. Just doesn't really make any sense. Don't understand 500 people really. It's quite a lot of people. Just thinking how many people in a school, and everyone you walk around has all their families and all those people dying, sort of thing. It's quite a lot of people. But I suppose schools are closed, so for some people that's a relief. Having rest, that's quite a good one as well. I'm having rest as well, getting a life with more leisure, more things that I like doing, and hopefully I can continue that. So the idea was to upload this podcast straight after the news, and then people could stumble across my channel after they go on their YouTube rampage after watching the BBC rampage. That is what going on YouTube is all about, a rampage. Yeah, so I was just hoping you'd just throw something at the wall and see if it sticks. Is this podcast, upload, and all of a sudden somebody new watches and you've got an audience, and it's unpredictable. But at the moment it's just me myself and one other person, which I'm pretty satisfied with. But the one other person is a loyal viewer, insanely loyal viewer, and I really appreciate that loyal viewer. So loyal, in fact, that part of me thinks it's me, but I don't know. Doesn't matter. Even if it's not me, even if it is me, at least I'm thinking that it isn't me to make myself feel better, and it isn't me. Great, that loyal viewer is a real treat on this channel. So the lighting setup in my room is, you can see my face. Can't really see my eyes very well, but there you go. The quality is quite good, all things considered, and you can hear me, and you can see me, and I've got the time, so everything should fall into place quite nicely, and I can get some ideas as to what to talk about. So let's go. There's a whole tab on BBC about the coronavirus. How safe is takeaway food and grocery shopping? Let's have a look at that. Remember a time just a few weeks ago when a trip to the supermarket wasn't restricted to the basic necessities to be done as infrequently as possible? What's the risk in shops? Coronavirus spreads when an infected person coughs small droplets packed with virus into the air. These can cause an infection if they are breathed in, or potentially if you touch a surface they have landed on. So going shopping and mixing with other people does carry a risk. That is why social distancing, keeping at least 2 meters apart from others, is so important, and many shops are enforcing it. Supermarkets can provide an ideal setting for virus transfer, says Professor Sally Bloomfield of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. Many people are touching and replacing items, checkout belts, cash cards, car park ticket, machine buttons, ATM payment buttons, paper receipts, etc., not to mention being in the proximity of several other people. There are ways to offset these risks. Wash your hands for 20 seconds with soap and water or alcohol-based hand sanitizer before and after shopping. Treat surfaces if they may be contaminated, meaning you avoid touching your face, and after handling shopping trolleys, basket, packages and produce, use contactless payment methods. Oh, that's why the bank has increased the contactless to £45, so you don't have to touch stuff. That's very cool. What about the shopping itself? There is no evidence of COVID-19 being transmitted through food, and thorough cooking will kill the virus. But while there is no such thing as zero risk, it is packaging handled by other people that is a chief concern. Online advice for food business says food packaging is not known to present a specific risk. However, some independent experts have some additional advice. So that's all about that. How safe are home deliveries? Delivery slots permitting a home drop is less risky than a trip to a supermarket, as you will avoid other shoppers. The risk is possible contamination of the surface of any food or package, or from the delivery driver. Food safety expert and blogger Dr. Lisa Ackley suggests leaving a note on your front door asking the driver to ring the bell and step back. This will allow you to safely pick up the food alone. So, takeaways, they're bad and key, I don't know. Yeah, takeaways and stuff. So, yeah. There is a lot of deaths in the UK, 759 as I say. the deaths just keep on going up. Stay local to exercise, says government. The government has said people should stay local and not travel unnecessarily for exercise. So open spaces near to home where possible. So that is cool. Staying local is the best idea. So that's just a little update of the coronavirus. My response to the coronavirus in recent times has been pretty lackluster. I got some preparations in there early and I'm living on them quite well. I don't know what the future has in store. Probably not a store worth full of food, maybe. Or maybe things will get back in stock and everything will be fine. I just think there's places of hope, like South Korea, that managed to more or less stop the virus, so that's pretty good. China have stopped the virus as well, if you believe them as well. But other countries is just getting out of hand, like the UK, France, Spain, Italy, and the US. And more likely than not, the US is going to become the new epicenter of the pandemic instead of Europe, which means there's just more cases there than anywhere else. So, but it's going to hit the developed countries worse than everyone, because I looked at all the stats and it appears that every country has at least one person there, so that should continue, and people will really struggle there because they struggle with food, because if they're locked in their house then they won't be able to get any food at all, and that would be quite a predicament. So that is the current situation, and yeah, things might get worse. Like, I don't know what happens when everyone stays inside for months. It'll be interesting what happens to society and stuff, and whether things can just continue as normal. No doubt there'll be a lot of unemployment, as there is in the US, and there'll be people who won't have food, and that will be quite bad, because you have to be able to afford the food, and there also has to be food in the supermarkets, and then people also have to deliver the food, and people have to grow the food, and you can't be sure that all these things will continue to work during the current problem of people being sick and people panic buying and everything. And I don't really like the term panic buying. I just think it's preparing and, you know, having a sense. Has dropped a ball. Yeah, I just think it's a case of preparing and having a respect for the virus, and just being able to prepare and be ready for when you need to stay inside for 12 weeks. Because if you buy loads at a time and you're able to stay inside for longer and there's less need to go to the shops, then things are obviously going to be better and you're more likely to stay safe. So yeah, I was hoping that I get a bit of an audience in this live stream. That's always my hope. But it's early days. You know, it's what is it? Episode 14. Lots more episodes to come, and I will eventually find some people to watch me. I don't go looking, I just upload and hope, really. Hope that people can stumble across this channel and find something to listen to, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with everything. So that's just my little update. I'm more likely to stay on longer if I've got a bit more energy. I've got more stuff to say. I already done it today, so this will be it for the time being. Lots of people dying of coronavirus. we're not sure what's going to happen to the world, and we don't know if how things will continue and how we will escape the lockdown and how we can get the economy back up and running and get things working again, because we're still trying to contain and delay and mitigate the current virus. So I appreciate what you're watching, and I will be live probably tomorrow. Until then, bye for now.